Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Vanessa, and I should have known something was wrong when he came home without taking off his shoes. I guess you have everything now, huh? I screamed across the kitchen, my voice cracking, hands trembling as I held the opened envelope like it was burning me. All those lies, all those late nights, this is what it was for. Thomas didn't even flinch. He just stood there, cold, distant, like a stranger I'd never met before. Don't turn this into some dramatic scene, Vanessa, he muttered, as he grabbed a glass from the cabinet, like we weren't in the middle of a fire. Dramatic? I walked toward him, the papers shaking in my fist. You filed for divorce behind my back, Tom. You had the nerve to hide it, and leave it in the one place I was bound to clean? He sipped his water like I was wasting his time. I was going to tell you. After the party. I didn't want to ruin things. I laughed. The kind of laugh that's sharp and hollow because everything inside is already broken. You were going to tell me? After the party I've been planning for your mother for 2 months. After the favors I pulled, the vendors I begged, the money I pulled out of my own savings? Oh no, Tom. You weren't going to tell me. You were going to let me throw a party, and then disappear like a damn ghost. He finally looked at me, not with regret. Not even with guilt. But with pity. That made my blood boil. You're being overly emotional. It's not working anymore, Vanessa. We haven't worked in years. I stepped forward, my voice dropping. Then why didn't you say something like a man? Why not come to me, tell me, talk to me? Because talking to you is like walking through a landmine, he snapped. You cry, you scream, you twist everything back on me. I slammed the counter with my fist. I twist everything? Tom, I gave you everything. I stayed when you lost your job. I supported you when you started that useless app no one downloaded. I worked double shifts just so you could find your purpose. And all this time, you were planning a clean escape. He rolled his eyes, walked away from me, toward the living room. Like he couldn't be bothered anymore. You're not even denying it, I whispered, following him. You already have a lawyer, don't you? Of course I do, he said, tossing himself on the couch. I needed to protect myself. I stared at him, something hardening in my chest. Protect yourself from what, Tom? Me? The woman who's cooked every meal you've eaten for 10 years? Who took care of your dying father when you couldn't face him? He picked up the remote like this was some casual Tuesday. I'm tired, Vanessa. And something inside me just snapped. I grabbed the papers, stormed toward the fireplace, and tossed them in. What the hell are you doing? He shouted, finally standing up. Giving you exactly what you gave me, I said, voice low but burning. No warning. No discussion. Just fire. Let's burn it all, Tom. He rushed over, but it was too late. The flames had already caught. You're insane, he spat, eyes wide, fists clenched. No, Tom. I'm just finally awake. And in that moment, with the divorce papers turning to ash, I knew something else was born in me. Not revenge. Not rage. A plan. What would you do if the person you built your entire life with planned to cut you out without a word? Would you walk away quietly, or would you take control of the story before they turn the final page? Because sometimes, betrayal isn't the end. It's just the start of your comeback. Stay with me. You won't believe what I did next. The papers turned to ash in under a minute. That's all it took, 60 seconds to erase 10 years of silence, sacrifice, and self-doubt. Tom stood there, staring at the fireplace like something had been stolen from him. Funny. That's how I'd been feeling for years. You just destroyed a legal document, he muttered, as if that mattered now. And you destroyed a marriage, I replied. Don't act like I started this fire. You did. With every lie, every cold shoulder, every night you came home smelling like someone else's perfume. His head snapped up. Guilt flickered in his eyes, just for a second, before he buried it under that same fake calm he always wore when he was lying. "There's no one else," he said. But his voice cracked at the end. "Barely. Just enough for me to hear it." I stepped closer, folding my arms. "You sure about that? Because the last 3 months, you've been getting real good at showering before you come home. New cologne. Changed your passwords." "I noticed, Tom." I just kept hoping it wasn't what I thought it was. He looked away, jaw clenched. "This is why I didn't want to talk to you. You turn everything into drama." "No," I said, steady and slow, "you turned it into drama the moment you went behind my back and printed divorce papers instead of having a single honest conversation with me." He grabbed his coat, walking toward the door like he couldn't get out fast enough. "I'm going to stay at Jason's tonight. We'll talk when you've calmed down." I didn't move. "Sure. Tell Jason I said hi. Or tell her, if she's there too." That made him freeze, hand on the doorknob. "What's that supposed to mean?" "I checked your call log last week," I said. "You've been texting someone saved as Jay every night after midnight. You even FaceTimed once, from the bathroom. You thought I was asleep, didn't you?" He turned slowly, eyes hard now. "You went through my phone?" "No," I said. "I went through the truth you couldn't stop hiding. And I found a whole lot more than just text messages. I found your little hidden folder. Your backup cloud. Your hotel receipts. Funny thing about digital paper trails, Tom, they're harder to burn." Silence. A long one. The kind that tells you everything. And then he whispered, like the coward he was, "Vanessa. I didn't mean for it to happen." "Save it," I snapped. "You meant every part of it. You meant the lies. You meant the secrets. You meant to hurt me quietly, and leave before I could scream." He sighed, defeated. "It's been over for a long time. We were just pretending." I nodded slowly, that sinking heaviness pressing on my chest again. "Maybe we were. But I wasn't pretending when I prayed for you at night. When I defended you to my family. When I worked weekends so you could have a break. I wasn't pretending, Tom. I was trying." He looked at me like he almost felt something, maybe even shame, but it was too late. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," he muttered. "Good," I said, "because you'll be hearing from me too." His brows furrowed. "What does that mean?" But I didn't answer. Not yet. Let him squirm. Let him wonder. Because if he thought burning those papers was my revenge, he had no idea what was coming. They say betrayal cracks you open, but they never talk about what pours out. Rage, yes. But also, clarity. And once I had that, I wasn't crying anymore. I was calculating. I wasn't going to break down in the dark like some abandoned wife. No. I was going to turn every fake smile, every cheated hour, every twisted lie, into something he'd never forget. He wanted to end this marriage in secret? Fine. Then I'd end his reputation in public. And trust me, I had receipts of my own. They say when a woman goes quiet, it's already too late to beg. And Tom? He had no idea how loud my silence was about to become. The moment the door slammed behind him, I walked straight into his office, not our shared bedroom, not the kitchen to cry into a teacup, but his space. The one I always respected. The one he told me never to touch. Now? I tore through it. Laptops. File drawers. Desk cabinets. USB drives labeled with fake client names. He thought he was so smart. But I knew how to dig. By morning, I had screenshots. Logs. Photos. Emails from an account he forgot was logged in. And buried in one of the shared folders labeled 2023_Q4_ presentations? A full-color PDF invitation. Save the date, Jason and Vanessa's baby shower. I stared at the screen, heartbeat slowing. Jason. Tom's best friend for 10 years. The guy who brought beers over on Sunday nights. The one who flirted with me when Tom wasn't looking, then pretended it was a joke. And now? Now his fiancée had my name. Not just my name. My life. Vanessa, her name, too, was pregnant. Due in 2 months. And the father? Wasn't Jason. It was Tom. I dropped the mouse. My hands were shaking. Not from grief. From rage. From the kind of storm that builds after someone stomps on your soul and expects you to whisper thank you. He wanted to hide me behind divorce papers. He wanted to walk out clean. He wanted to leave, while she carried his baby and threw a damn party for it. So I RSVP'd. And I didn't go alone. I showed up to that backyard baby shower in the same red dress Tom always hated. Said it was too loud, too tight, too much. I wore it anyway. Red like war. The moment I stepped into the garden, time froze. People turned. The air changed. Jason's mother, bless her, she'd always liked me, nearly dropped the punch bowl. And there she was. Other Vanessa. Holding her belly like a prize, smiling like she hadn't just helped destroy someone else's home. Oh, wow, she blinked, recovering. You're here. I smiled sweetly. Of course. I mean, it's not every day you get to celebrate your husband's baby with his mistress. Gasps. Everywhere. Jason turned pale. Wait, what? He said. What did you just say? I walked right up to him and handed him a manila folder. You might want to look at these before you name your child. Photos. Receipts. Messages. All dated. All undeniable. Jason opened it, and I watched him break. Tom showed up 15 minutes later. Late. Sweaty. Panicked. He walked into a battlefield. Vanessa, he gasped when he saw me. But I didn't answer. I let Jason handle it. You slept with my fiancé? Jason roared, face inches from his. While I was building a damn nursery? Tom stammered, reaching for Vanessa, his Vanessa, who was now crying in a corner. It was glorious. But I wasn't done. I walked to the center of the yard and clinked a glass with a fork. Everyone looked up, stunned. Hi, I said. I know this is awkward, but since you're all here, friends, family, co-workers, I thought now's the perfect time to make a little announcement of my own. I pulled out a small flash drive. Everything Tom has tried to hide? His second phone, the corporate tax fraud, the secret accounts in your name, Vanessa? It's all on here. Labeled. Verified. And already in the inboxes of 3 different lawyers. Tom turned ghost white. You wouldn't. Oh, I would, I said. And I did. See, you thought you were divorcing me quietly. What you didn't know is I already beat you to the filing. You're being served, today. Along with a restraining order, a subpoena, and an official audit. Dead silence. Then applause. Not a joke, applause. Jason clapped first. Then his mother. Then someone in the back whistled. Tom didn't say a word. He just stared at me like he didn't recognize the woman in front of him. Because he didn't. He knew the version of me that begged for love. That waited for him to come home. That sacrificed everything to make him happy. But this version? This woman wore red. And she never waited again. Revenge isn't always about screaming or breaking things. Sometimes it's about walking into the room they thought you'd avoid, and becoming the one they can't ignore. Tom wanted me gone quietly. But I made sure everyone heard me walk away. And I wasn't done yet. After the baby shower explosion, you'd think I'd feel relief. Closure. But I didn't. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a blink. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling like it still held the ghost of every lie he whispered. And then the messages started. First, from old friends, the ones who used to politely avoid eye contact when they saw me at parties, unsure of what Tom had told them. Vanessa. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I always thought something felt off about him. I'm proud of you. That was legendary. And then came the big one. A DM from a woman named Claire. I didn't recognize the name at first, until I remembered the quiet, nervous intern from Tom's office 3 years ago. She was soft-spoken. Smart. The kind of girl who brought her own lunch and kept her head down. And now? Now she was sending me screenshots. Emails. A full testimony. Turns out Tom wasn't just cheating on me. He'd been coercing women in his office for years. Manipulating, threatening their careers, offering mentorship that turned into late-night texts. Claire had kept it all. Because, as she wrote, I didn't think anyone would believe me, until you burned his world down in one dress. I read every word with shaking hands. My gut twisted, not from shock, but from recognition. That same coldness he used to isolate me? He used it everywhere. This wasn't just my story anymore. It was ours. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I posted. Not a vague, tearful video. Not a cryptic quote with a sad filter. I wrote the truth. Line by line. Fact by fact. I laid it all out. The hidden divorce papers. The affair. The baby shower ambush. The financial fraud. The women he cornered. The way I found my voice. I ended it with this. Silence is the favorite weapon of cowards. I was silent for too long. Not anymore. The post went viral in hours. Within a day, the board of his company suspended him. By day 3, he was under investigation. Not just by HR, but by the IRS. And by day 5? His face was on the evening news. I didn't celebrate. Not really. Because none of this gave me back the years I lost. The moments I swallowed my own feelings just to keep peace. The love I poured into a man who never even said thank you. But it gave me something better. It gave me myself. And in that storm, something else happened. Claire asked to meet. Nervous at first, but brave. We had coffee at a small cafe where no one knew us. She sat down, eyes darting. I just wanted to say, thank you. I smiled. You're the one who gave the truth legs. I just made it walk. She laughed, a small, real laugh. And then she leaned in, voice low. There are more of us. At least 3 others. One of them already has a lawyer. That's when I knew, this wasn't just a breakup. It was a reckoning. Tom had built his life on secrets. And now, one by one, they were coming to light. I thought I'd feel bitter. But what I felt was power. Not revenge. Not cruelty. That same week, I got a call from Jason. Not angry. Not broken. Just honest. Hey, he said, I know you probably hate me too. I don't, I replied. I never did. I just hated what we let him get away with. There was silence. Then he said something I didn't expect. He told me once that you were too emotional. Too soft. That you wouldn't survive without him. I laughed bitterly. Yeah? And look at me now. Jason exhaled. You didn't just survive, Vanessa. You ended him. But this isn't a story about ending a man. It's about beginning again. I took time off. Found an apartment that was mine and only mine. Bought a bookshelf. Painted one wall yellow. Tom hated yellow. Said it was too loud. Turns out I like loud. I went back to school. Took courses on business ethics. Claire joined me. So did one of the other women from his office. We started a support group. Weekly meetings, open forums. A safe place for stories that usually get ignored. We called it the Red Dress Club. Because sometimes, healing starts when you were what they told you not to. You don't have to burn the past to the ground. Sometimes, all you have to do is tell the truth out loud, and let the fire find itself. They'll call you dramatic. Angry. Overreacting. Let them. Because one day, they'll realize, you weren't breaking down. You were breaking free. 3 weeks later, he showed up. Outside my building, in the same navy suit he always wore to fake sincerity. Hair messier than usual, a forced humility hanging off his slouched shoulders like an old coat that didn't fit anymore. He didn't knock at first. Just stood there, hands buried deep in his pockets like he could hide the truth inside them. I opened the door. Not to welcome him. Just to face him. Vanessa, he breathed, like my name still belonged to him. I've lost everything. I nodded slowly. That tends to happen when you build everything on lies. His eyes welled up. Real tears this time? Maybe. But I'd stopped being the judge of his sincerity. I wasn't here to play God. I was here to end the chapter. I made mistakes, he started. I was stupid. I was scared. Of what? I asked. Of being loved too well? Of a wife who trusted you with everything? He blinked. I didn't think you'd ever find out. I thought I could handle it. Both lives. I shook my head. You couldn't even handle one. You faked a divorce behind my back, stole from our joint account, planned a whole future with someone else, and still expected me to make you dinner. He stepped forward. I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said, calm now. Cold. You lost me the moment you decided I was optional. He was crying now. Really crying. The kind of crying that used to move me. That used to make me forgive. Make me forget. But not anymore. Please, he begged. Can we at least talk? Try therapy? Just a chance. One last chance. I looked him dead in the eye. You had hundreds of chances. You just used them all lying. And then I handed him a box. Neatly packed. All his leftover ties, cufflinks, and old cologne. Take this, I said. It's all that's left of what you were in this home. And it's all going with you. He looked down at it like it was heavier than he expected. You know, I added, voice steady, I prayed once that you'd come back like this. Regretful. Desperate. And now that you're here? I feel nothing but peace. He tried to smile. So, is this goodbye? I nodded. Goodbye to you. But hello to me. I closed the door before he could speak again. That was the last time I saw him. Now? I walk differently. I speak louder. I laugh from the chest, not the throat. People call me strong. Brave. Even a little too much sometimes. But I'm not too much. I'm just no longer small. I don't shrink for rooms that can't hold me. I don't explain myself to people who never listened. I found the papers that were supposed to end me, and turned them into the beginning of everything. So now I ask you, the one listening, watching, maybe crying in secret. If you found the truth that was meant to destroy you, would you burn quietly? Or would you rise louder than the fire that tried to consume you? The choice is yours. What would you do?